Greetings, everyone. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Brown Girls Are Beautiful. I am your hostess and your melanated queen, Lil Foxy, aka Seventh Wonder, y'all. Hope everyone is having a wonderful. What's good? How y'all doing? Yes, I'm here. I don't know if I'm going to really come on camera like that, y'all, because I'm tired. Look, I'm in the house with sunshades on, y'all. So this is what I got going on. You made some changes. Fox Studios, I like it. Okay. How y'all doing today? Y'all doing good? So anyway, I'm going to turn it back off, y'all, so I can protect my eyes and my vision. Y'all see, look how tired I look. I look tired. So anyway, I'm going to turn this off and I'm going to continue on, y'all. But thank y'all for showing up in the chat section. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate all the support. So, like I was saying, without any further ado, oh, you were watching Hell's Kitchen? Oh man, you can get caught up in that. Like I started watching it one night and it was just like one episode after the next, back to back to back. I remember like when you watch stuff like that, you just have to really be careful because you could spend hours upon hours delving into that stuff. Anyway, y'all, I hope everybody's been having a good week. This is, it's been a challenging week for some of us, and for some of us, probably not so much. But y'all, we just got to get to it so we can do it. We got to do it and get to it, y'all. All right. So remember when we last left off, hence the title. I don't even know what my title says, y'all. Something about churches in session and the truth about Christianity. I think that's what I put on the title. I'm going to try to find myself up here on the screen so I can see what I'm looking like, y'all. I can't even see myself. You said it's raw, good cooking tips. Yes, it is. Those people be under pressure like crazy in Hell's Kitchen, man. You had a revelation scripture? No, I didn't have a revelation scripture. This is Revelations. Basically, we're going through it right now. We're revealing the truth. That's part of Revelations. So that's how I see it. Hold on, let me make sure. Where am I showing up on here? Let me see. Do I see myself? I don't even see my live stream, y'all. This happens every time I go live. I can never find myself. So irritating. So freaking irritating. Hold on, y'all. I gotta find where I'm at. Oh, and while I do that, let me take y'all over to Mr. Black Revolutionary TV. He's actually premiering a video right now, and I want y'all to see what he has going on. Let me see if I can find it. BRN TV. So he's talking about Asada Shakur, and I'm trying to find it before it stops. Black Revolutionary now. Okay, here it is. Here it is. 14 minutes ago. I thought it was still going on. Okay, well, I'm going to share my screen anyway so y'all can see it. You watched the show just to see Gordon Ramsay scream and kick teams out? All right, now. Do what you got to do, right? Okay, so y'all, this is Black Revolutionary's page right here. And he's going to be talking about Asada Shakur.
A special
Hopefully he doesn't mind that I'm sharing this on my platform because I'm trying to look for my video, y'all.
rest in black power to our revolutionary sister, Asada Shakur. Yes, she was our hero. She was our revolutionary. She was our sister, mother, auntie, grandmother. Yes, and no one, absolutely no one on this planet gonna tell us how we should honor her. We know how to honor her. We don't give a damn. People like white supremacist collaborator, Indian FBI Cash Patel, telling us how we should honor our revolutionary. Hell no. You have to remember, black family, whatever the enemy say is wrong is right. And whatever the enemy say is right is wrong. Once you follow that blueprint, you on the right side of history. So we're gonna honor our beautiful revolutionary sister who was railroaded by this white supremacy system. And we know our beautiful sister didn't commit the crime that these white supremacists said she did. So we're going to stand on business. We're going to stand on the truth. We don't give a damn what they say because we know their whole system is built on lies. So rest up, beautiful Asada Shakur. We will remember you. We will keep honoring you, and we will never, ever forget you. Rest in black power.
All right, y'all. So I'm going to stop it there, okay? If you'd like to check out the rest of the video, you can go to Black Revolutionary Now TV. Again, that's Black Revolutionary Now TV, okay? And I'm going to pull up a few other things as well. When we last left off, we were talking about Christianity with Ashra Kwesi and Dr. Phil Valentine. I think y'all recall those sessions, right? You said Jamaica is also God's chosen people, tribe of Levi, I think. Yes, indeed. So Kash Patel had some very choice words for Asada Shakur. If you don't know about her past, it is said that she got into a shootout with some police officers. A police officer ended up no longer here on the earth, and she allegedly had an injury in one of her arms, and she said she did not do it. They ended up saying, accusing her. Um, she fled to Cuba, and Fidel Castro actually took her in and allowed her to take cover in Cuba. But I always remember when they would tell us about Fidel Castro, they tried to paint a very ugly narrative of Fidel Castro, as well as Muammar Gaddafi. And we're going to be doing a live stream on Gaddafi as well, because he was very heavily revered by the people in Africa, you all. My sister was the one that told me about Gaddafi back in like 2015 or 2016. And she was also the one that told me about Marcus Garvey, you all. So we have a lot of catching up to do. But without any further ado, let me get on with this thing here that I'm trying to get done, because I don't want to be on here too long. I'm already tired, y'all. But let's listen to Ashra Kwesi speak a little bit more into the origins and history of the Adam and Eve story, and then we're going to go from there. All right, so I'm going to take this off the screen for a second, and I'm going to switch over to Mr. Ashra Kwesi. If you don't know, he does take trips to Egypt. He's taking one this July 2026. He was on King Simon's podcast, y'all. Yesterday, I watched it, and it was very powerful. And I do hope to go on that tour to Egypt. He said Fidel didn't like anyone that was against him. A little Mo Coffee was a Libyan leader and a great one. Okay. Yes. So let's go ahead and let Ashra Kwesi tell us more about the origins of Adam and Eve. I doubt we'll get a lot of trolls in here because this is a more intimate setting. I'm not doing the vertical live stream. I'm doing the horizontal. So a lot of times they're not going to come into the live stream. So we should not have to worry about too much of that as well.
And you know, the story is corrupted anyway, because as they said, there was only Adam and Eve, and then they created a son named who? And Cain went out to the land of Nod and found what? They haven't been able to explain that story yet. And then the racist theologians will tell you that was the sub-Negroid race. No, African people had a great kingdom long before their Adam and Eve story that they created and corrupted from the goddess Aset and Asar from right here in Kemet, right here in Egypt where you are. These stories are told. This is a book in stone. That's why they carved endlessly so it could not be revised. You see the ark already back there. How could the Ark of Covenant that the Jews say that Jehovah God is the portable God house and you got it right here? And we are taught to go to Jerusalem and not to come back here to Kemet. We look at Jerusalem as being the Holy Land, not Kemet as being the Holy Land. This was the original Holy Land. This was the original Taneter land. I know that may be hard for some of us, but 400 years of indoctrination, you have to look at yourself as a victim. And we have been a victim. But we have continuous stories. So this is a book in stone. You can have a few minutes to take your pictures of the goddess Cashapp and go back and tell the story. Show it to the preachers. Show it to the ministers. We want to get to the root of these stories, and you've come halfway around the world, back to the African Nile Valley, and witnessed where they've copied and manipulated these stories from you. We want to get to the root of the story, and the root of the story was no Eve, but it was in fact Cashapp, giving divine knowledge and wisdom. See, the only story that we have when a story regurgitates up is what white folks put in our psyche. But now the real psychological warfare is going to take place now because you are here. You're witnessing on the temples now, Cashapp and the tree of life and many other concepts that we have shown, and that's down in your psychic. So when you hear the Garden of Eden, what's going to trigger in your mind right back here? I saw Cashapp, and it was nothing. That's what's going to trigger. That's what's going to activate. But if you have nothing down in your psychic to fight that, then you can only accept that which has been told to you.
All right. Let me stop right there. So why is this so important, everybody, ladies and gentlemen? It's important that we have something to counter what's already been fed to our subconscious psyches, right? Because if we don't have anything that has been fed to our psyches, we start revering whatever the oppressor shows us. And just to let you know how harmful that is, I'm going to share my story again. Some of you might have heard me talk about this, but when I was in Germany in 4th grade, the first sign of learning about our history was basically slavery, everyone, in 4th grade. And they actually made us watch those slave movies. They made us watch those slave movies. And that did something to me in 4th grade. I was 9 years old. And I looked around at all my other counterparts in the classroom, and I wondered to myself, why is it that my people went through this? Why is it that they didn't have to go through this? It does something to your subconscious, and they are very much aware of it. And I really think that is it really shouldn't be taught in school. And I really don't think that this should be introduced to children, but they know what they're doing, y'all. This is done purposely. Your minds are always, always under attack. Okay. So that is not it. We're going to explore and examine a little bit more into the true history of Christianity, everybody. Please look here at Dr. Phil Valentine. He is also very heavily revered in his field of study as well. A lot of respect to Dr. Phil Valentine that's done a lot of research into this.
Y'all know anything about this? Absolutely not. You heard about the Gospel of Barnabas. Well, that's one out of how many in here? Now forgive the bottom of my head or the back of my head, because I'm going to be speaking to you from all of what I have written. It's best for me to just put it down on the record for you, because I have a lot to read to you. The birth of Constantine, the father of Christianity. On the crossroads of the Balkans, near a city called Naissus, Naissus, an illegitimate child was born in 274 AD to a rural barmaid who flirted freely with a Roman officer. The boy was named Constantine. He was born in the inn. This boy was ambitious. He joined the Roman military and quickly climbed up to the ranks of soldiery in the east. On the banks of the Danube River, for bravery in the battle on that Danube River, he was made a tribune. He rose to become a Caesar. He made himself an Augustus. Patience, prudence, determination, and optimism brought this son of an innkeeper to the very banks of the Tiber at the head of an army. Now, I'm writing to you based upon my own literary license. You're actually listening to how I write. All right, so it may tend to take on flair because I like to do that. I'm a Libra. I'm an artist by nature. I'm a wordologist. All right? So it's a little flavor in here, a little season. I think we're a little grown up now. We don't need, Mary ran here. Jack saw this. All right? Across the bridge from Rome was Maxentius and his army, 200,000 strong. Now you just imagine Maxentius and Constantine across the river from one another, facing off to become the next Caesar. Now you got to remember that at the time of Constantine, Rome was about to go into the toilet anyway. And at that time, there were about 5 or 6 other thugs vying for the throne of Caesar. So there were all these little compatriots, almost like the gangs, little parts of the mafia. Whose family are you with? Constantine saw Severus try to take over Rome. Severus, somebody said something? Oh, Severus, the very man that Constantine followed. Severus went across. No good. He watched Galerius try to cross the Pontemal and failed. At Pontemal.
Okay, I'm going to fast forward this a little bit. I've already watched this whole thing. All right, let's fast forward just a little bit, y'all.
Murder of all of his closest friends and leading the church to victory over his enemies, he was canonized a saint. After his death, says Eusebius, effigies of this blessed man were engraved on Roman coins, sitting in and driving a chariot with a hand reaching down from heaven to take him up. This is from a book called The Life of Constantine by Schlegel, Schlegel.
Okay, I'm going to stop right here and I'm going to switch gears for a second. So many people are aware that religion and that these religious practices have been fabricated and stolen and remixed and given back to us, like I was saying. And I know a lot of times people don't like to hear the truth, but this is something that we have to explore and examine for your minds to be free, everybody. So when people ask me, do you subscribe to religion? The answer is no, and I don't subscribe to definitely not to Christianity any longer. And the reason for that is because I know the lies that have been told. A lot of people don't like hearing the truth, y'all. They will fight you over the situation. Like they want to still be indoctrinated, y'all. And it's a very, very difficult thing when you've been believing something your whole entire life and you find out that you've been lied to. So a lot of people can't accept the truth. Yeah, he said that at the end is true. Yes, indeed. There's so many links and so much stuff that I want to share with y'all that I just don't want to overwhelm you with information because I want to speak. I want to keep this live stream under a certain amount of time. But let me go ahead and highlight this, and I'm going to share this with you. So just a second, y'all. Okay, hold on. Let me rewind back, y'all, for a second. Okay. All right. And now I'm going to share this video with you. So just a moment. Okay. Here we go. All right. So this is a Caucasian pastor that warns white people to repent and ask for forgiveness before it's too late. So, you know, when I come on here and I tell y'all that the hit dogs are howling and hollering and they get mad, this is why I did not do the vertical live stream, because I know if I did a vertical live stream, they would be over here in the comment section going at it heavy and hard. And we really don't need distractions right now, because this is to help people to liberate their minds and to help them evolve and free themselves. It's not really going to be that popular right now because people are so stuck and set in religion. But this is coming from a Caucasian. Thank you, Lonesome Dove. Let's go ahead and listen to what he has to say, you all.
But as a white pastor with a white congregation, I'm not struggling to find sympathy for the cops. I'm not struggling to find compassion for the police officers in my congregation. What I'm struggling against is people that I have known and loved that are saying things like, this happened over 100 years ago. Why are they still going on about it? That, well, you're talking about stuff that ended a long time ago, Pastor. Why can't they just forget about it and move on? Well, why do we have to have a Black History Month? Where's our White History Month? Or even the stupid comments, even stupider than that, like Juneteenth? When do we get our holiday? It's called July 4th. What I'm struggling with is, how do I answer these people? How do I pastor these people? How do I come against mindsets that have been embedded for decades, that have been inbred in them, and they think they are righteous and justified, and they don't see the sin in their own heart? And how do I pastor that? I've got friends that are officers, and I love them, and I hurt for them. But right now, what I'm seeing is the pain in my brothers who are Black and my sisters who are Black. And I do have compassion for the police. But when I have betrayed a trust, it is my responsibility to find out how to fix that. And to my white pastor friends, we have a horrible track record in the church of betraying trust.
Hello, lovelies. Welcome back to today's episode. This white.
Okay, I'm going to skip past her. All right. And I'm going to let him continue to speak.
So I just had a comment on someone on Facebook, and this is what helped me, and this is where I think we've got to go. We've got to have the dialogues, and we've got to have a place. My Black pastor friends and my Black friends, I've got to know what to do because you know my heart, but many of you know my heart. And so you know when I ask these questions, I'm asking because I really want reconciliation, okay? I really want to see this healed, and I don't want another hashtag. I don't want another hashtag. I made a comment. I didn't even make a comment. I posted celebrating Juneteenth. And I had a guy comment, didn't Abraham Lincoln take care of that? Are you going to tear down his statue too? And my thought was, what in the world does that have to do with anything?
This is what the world's most advanced PC looks like.
I hate when they do that, y'all. We're going to skip this.
Not even read what the holiday is about, and that's the issue. There is a lack of desire for education because we have people that think they already know the answer, and they don't understand that they keep doing the same thing, responding in the same way, and nothing changes, but it's all the black people's fault because they just won't get over it. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Look, even my cat doesn't even agree with it because he knows that he's telling the truth. Have you seen in the comment sections recently when they say, "Oh, you're playing a victim. Oh, you're so oppressed." They always like to try to gaslight someone, and it's to absolve them of guilt. And you know, a lot of times they are trying to be condescending because they didn't go through it. You know, they don't know what it feels like to constantly be oppressed just because you're born into this world being a certain ethnicity. They don't understand the concept of what that feels like. And it's quite ridiculous. But while they make those comments and while they make a mockery of it, there is going to be judgment. It might not necessarily come from Jesus or who they classify as Jesus. It could be going down right now in this world, in this universe. I'm telling you, y'all, this earth, this universe is getting tired of their arrogance, tired of their imperialistic behaviors and thoughts, tired of them not having compassion and consideration for other people, other nationalities, other groups, other countries, other continents, other lives. They only think their way is the right way. And then they use Christianity to make themselves feel better. That's why I say it's a very satanic thing that they're doing. It's very demonic, y'all.
Please hear my heart. Guys, we're in a situation where, and Ubi, you're right, if the church doesn't get this right, the city's not going to get it right. But until we start having the honest conversations and having a place like this where we say, so what do we say? What do I say to my friends? What do I say to change their minds? We're not going to get it right. Does that make sense? Please hear my heart. So I'm walking in and I said to Brother Clarence, I said, I need a little perspective. Because here's what I didn't answer him. I deleted this guy, deleted his comment because I didn't want, it was stupid. And then I went and posted something about sometimes you delete a comment because you want to save somebody their last thread of dignity. Brother Clarence said, yeah, but he's asking a question. He's thinking. You've called his attention to something, and now he has to go and think about it. And now he's asking a question. You see, that's a perspective that I didn't have. It's from a perspective of someone that's already wrestled through some issues that I'm wrestling through now. Does that make sense? Guys, this is where we got to go. This is where we got to go. Because the issue in the church is deep. It's deep. And what's keeping it in place is the defense and the deflection of the white people that continue to think and to say, you've got to get over it. You've got to get over it. You've got to get over it. And the whole time they're continuing to perpetrate it over and over. It has nothing to do with police. It has everything to do with a systematic mindset that is embedded and embedded in our culture that has to change. And it begins when we begin to repent of things that God has condemned. It begins when we come together as pastors and say, I'm sorry. And I'm sorry if I lose half my congregation. But listen, I'm a proponent for unity in the city and have been for 8 years. And I've seen God move and I've seen God do things and I've seen God lay groundwork. But until the races are unified, the church will not be unified the way God wants it to be unified. And until we repent, white pastors, until we repent of our ignorance and our deflection and our defense. Why?
These 100% grass-fed beef sticks from Paleo Valley are 30 sticks for just $36 right now.
All right. Sorry about that, y'all.
Because the one who broke the trust has the burden of responsibility of pursuing the reconciliation. And we do it at whatever pace we need to do it. Not we need to do it, but the Black church needs to do it, whatever pace they need to go at. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Because Jesus came to where we were. He did not expect us to come to where he is. He came to where we were so that he could walk with us into where we needed to be. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Guys, listen. If there's an infidelity in a marriage, if I cheat on my wife, shame. Yeah, thanks, Carla. It didn't happen. If it did, I don't have the luxury of saying, honey, you just need to forgive and go on. I don't have the luxury of saying, why can't you just get over it? Especially if I continue to cheat. If I continue to break a trust, if I continue and I have year after year after year after year of a trust that's broken, every time you turn around, the trust is broken. Every time you turn around, the trust is broken. And here I am saying, I love you, but you just need to go on, and I break a trust. I love you, but you just need to forgive me, and I break a trust. Why don't you forgive me? Where's your business? Why aren't you being like Jesus and forgiving me like you're supposed to? Guys, I've heard all those things said from people that I have known and loved my entire life about the Black church. Do you see the stronghold? The burden of responsibility is on the part of the person that has broken the trust. I didn't mean to be out of line. I didn't mean to be out of line. I hope you hear my heart. I hope you hear my heart.
White churches have not just been supported by white supremacy, they have served as its headquarters. I know you don't want to hear that. They have taught white people that oppression is godly and that power belongs to us by divine right. After the civil rights movement, powerful white people, men, saw that their grip was slipping. Black people were winning court cases. Poor people were organizing. Women were demanding rights. How dare we? LGBTQ people were coming out of their closets, and the foundations of white male dominance were cracking. So they thought, what can we use that no one will question? In 1979, Jerry Falwell founded the Moral Majority. He said it was about championing family values. That was a lie. The real trigger was that the IRS had begun revoking tax exemptions for whites-only Christian schools. Those whites-only schools were created specifically to avoid integration. Falwell's own school, Liberty Christian Academy, was one of them. The platform of the Moral Majority ended up getting built around the issue of abortion. Although that wasn't the original plan, they basically test drove different topics to see which ones would resonate the most with the audience they needed to capture, which was white Americans, white Christian Americans. It had everything to do with maintaining the right to discriminate, yet still enjoy government benefits.
All right. So as you can clearly see, they continue to use these narratives in churches. They continue to push these agendas in the name of religion. That's why I said it's very dangerous to be following the religion of the oppressor. Now, when you try to tell this to melanated people, the first thing they're going to do is get hypersensitive and attack you, because they think that you are attacking their belief system, their religion, their faith, and they don't like to hear the truth. That you're going to get a lot of pushback from people when you try to present them with evidence, even though this is coming straight out of Caucasians' mouths, right? Coming from the Caucasians' mouths. They're the ones revealing this truth. Melanated people usually don't You don't want to hear the truth unless sometimes it comes from a white person. Then maybe they'll believe it because we know there are a lot of backward thinking individuals, right? And now for Exhibit C, you all. I'm going to share my screen. And this is from Introvert Rockstar's channel, if you'd like to check him out. All right. So I'm going to definitely give him the credit for this video we're about to watch. This is another white pastor exposing the truth, everyone.
I think back on the African-American people in America. I think how that they were taken against their wills, put in the belly of ships, brought over here, beat, cussed. Many of them died in the guts of those ships, thrown overboard. They were pulled from families over there. You ain't never heard a gut-wrenching song. Do you hear a black person sing one of those old black Negro spirituals? Nobody knows. I can't sing it like that, see, because I hadn't experienced what they be. When you've experienced hell, it comes out of the voice. I said, when you experience hell, it comes out of the voice. If you're one of those people that you got problem with black people or whatever, you better shut your mouth because they're God's people. You better hear what I'm saying to you. You better shut your mouth. I'm not kidding you. I know some of you was raised in the deep South and you was raised by prejudiced people and bigoted people. You better get that out of your system. You better get it out of your system. It'll cause you to suffer right along with those masters. It'll cause you to suffer right along with them. These are God's people. And I know that there's wicked in white races and wicked in black races and all that. I'm not justifying none of that stuff. I'm just saying God knows what happened to the black race. He knows how they wound up over here. And God is going to reimburse the black people for all their trouble and all their labor. You watch what I tell you. Watch what I tell you.
And you already know on this channel.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to click off of that. All right. I'm going to click off of that. So like I said, they don't want this information out there, y'all. They always like to make us seem like we are causing an issue if we start telling them about themselves, telling them about the truth. Only American are God's people. The other Africans are Hamites that God did not favor because they said Judah to Esau. Okay. Yeah. So whenever they come on acting like they didn't know any better, these people know what's going on. They try to pretend like, oh, it's not in existence anymore. Can't we just move on? Y'all have already spoken about it. You know, that's not happening now. But that's just a way for them to gaslight y'all. That's a way for them to gaslight. Don't listen to that. They know what they're doing. They're gaslighting. And that's all they ever do because they don't want to accept and take accountability for their actions. All right. Now we're going to listen to this lady by the name of Jane Elliott, everyone. Her name is Jane Elliott. And you may have heard of her. You may not have heard of her, but we're going to examine her today. Okay. So let's listen into what Jane has to say.
Just couple more questions. When we hear when I hear people say that they're not racist and things like that, and we talk about building racial harmony in this country, I don't think I'll see it in my lifetime. Can you predict in the near future or far future when we will ever have racial harmony?
Oh yeah, in 30 years, white people will have found out that they have no choice but to get along with those who are different from themselves. I'm not willing. I'd love to wait, but I can't. At my age, I'm not going to be here in 30 years. But we could change this situation if we chose to. During the Second World War, we called the Japanese, and you'll pardon me, but this is what we called them: slant-eyed little yellow. We didn't say that about the Germans.
Yeah, so even the Asians were classified as yellow, all right? And people might not know that, but they discriminate against Asians as well, but not as much as they do against the melanated people.
After the war, we rebuilt Germany and Japan, and we get along beautifully with the Japanese. That was in 1945 that we finally won that war. How many years ago was that? Figure that out quickly.
I'm not a math person, but
You're not a math person, but you know it wasn't that far.
Right.
And it didn't take 50 years for us to have peace with the Japanese and the Germans, even though we dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan. The Japanese hadn't killed 10 million people. Nowhere near that. We didn't drop any bombs on Germany, because any atomic bombs on Germany. They were a different kind of people. We couldn't afford to do that. We killed how many Japanese people with 2 atomic bombs? And they forgave us. You want to talk about forgiveness? You want to talk about changing this thing? I cannot understand how Japanese people can stand the sight of any of us, and yet they do. I cannot understand why Black people who have been subjected to the ugliness that they've been subjected to in this country can get up every morning and go to work among us and not be absolutely furious.
Now that I use Monday service, AI makes solving.
And I don't understand why we allow white people to behave the way they do. I don't understand that. And my 3rd graders, after they'd gone through the exercise, couldn't understand it and wouldn't tolerate it. And when they went up to junior high and a junior high teacher used the N-word, one of my former students said, if you're going to use that word, I'm going to go out in the hall until you stop using it, because we don't use that word in this school. That was a 7th grader who told his teacher off. When we have enough students who are willing to confront people who are making racist, sexist, ageist, homophobic statements, we're going to be better off. We have got to stop tolerating the intolerable. If it's intolerable for my Black cousins, and every Black person on this earth is one of my cousins, if it's intolerable for them, it's intolerable for me. I will not tolerate it. I will not tolerate it. That is not that. I am required not to tolerate that kind of treatment for the people who are related to me. And that's every person on the face of the earth. If your ignorance is such that you'll mistreat somebody because of your ignorance about the color of their skin, don't do it around me. Number one, I've been threatened with death lots of times. Now I say, go for it, fool. My husband died 4 years ago. Being with him would not be a bad thing for me. Death is not the worst thing that can happen to you. Living a worthless, useless life is much worse than dying.
What did that study show you?
Oh, it showed me a lot of things. Number one, it showed me that racism is a learned response. Nobody's born a bigot. You have to teach bigotry, and that's what we do in this country. I found out how it feels to be on the receiving end of racism because I'm blue-eyed, and the brown-eyed children were on the top in that first day. And I found out how it feels to be treated badly by people over whom you have power because of having the wrong color eyes. I found out how it feels to be subjected to unbelievable and unreal discrimination because of a physical characteristic over which I had no control. I thought I knew about racism. I thought I knew about child psychology. I knew nothing. All I knew was what I had learned in school. And what I had learned in school was not education. What I got in school wasn't education. It was indoctrination. I was taught how to be a good American citizen. And in this country, we think that the only Americans are the ones who live in the contiguous 48 states of the United States. Americans are everybody from the very north tip of Canada to the very southern tip of South America.
All right, so let's listen to what she just said. Americans are everybody from the northern tip to the south tip of South America. So that would include, from what she's saying, all of these people that have crossed the border, right? Because you know that they actually have ICE that have been detaining people for crossing the border coming into this country. Now, there's a big thing going on because they're saying, hey, this is really their land. This was originally their land as well, right? Well, then you have these Europeans saying, no, this is America. This is our land. This is our country. You came here illegally. So then they're starting to go back in history and try to hash it out in that aspect. But we already know whatever is white is allegedly right, even when they came over here being in the wrong, right? Because they stole this country from the indigenous people. They slaughtered the indigenous people. And this is what they have done on other continents as well, you all. It is the depravity and it's in their nature. It is the savagery and the debauchery in them that they don't want to recognize. And whenever we talk about these topics, they get very hypersensitive and start attacking me in the chat section for telling the truth. This, again, is why I'm doing a horizontal live stream instead of a vertical live stream, because it would have attracted too many viewers coming over here trying to distract away from the truth and getting this information out. The people need to hear this and the people need to see this. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you, if you come across this video, that you share it with people that need to hear these things, because it's very hard for people to get the truth when it's coming from the people that it's happening to, because they keep telling, you know, Native Americans, indigenous people, you know, of melanated descent, you're just complaining. You just want to be oppressed. You have excuses. You know, they always brush it off. And this is what they continue to do. All right. You said that's why. Okay. All right, let's continue on, y'all.
But we, in our arrogance, say that we are the only Americans. If you're really going to keep this America to Americans, we don't dare build a wall on the southern border of the United States, because those people, those brown-skinned people that are going to come across that border are Americans. Now,
y'all, listen up. This ain't just another story. This.
Okay, she said they are Americans, y'all. Now, I don't know if y'all are aware. I don't know if y'all are aware, but she did an experiment, okay? And in this experiment, she showed the white children how it felt to be discriminated against based on eye color. So she treated certain children differently if they had brown eyes, and then she treated another set of children differently if they had blue eyes. She also conducted this experiment on grown adult males. And guess what? The grown white Caucasian males actually threatened her life. They couldn't take it anymore. They were very upset with her. She had to be led out of town because of how they were treated.
So she takes the unthinkable step. She flips the power dynamic right there in her classroom. One day, blue-eyed kids are told they're less than. They're ridiculed, shut out, punished. The next day, it's reversed, and the brown-eyed kids get dragged through the dirt. Overnight, those innocent little children get a crash course in what it feels like to live under a system built on nothing but prejudice. Some cried, some fought, some turned cruel. And by the end, those kids and Jane herself had tasted the poison Black America has been forced to swallow for 400 years. And here's the part that matters. She didn't do it for shock value. She did it because she saw the lie. She saw that racism was not natural, it was taught. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. Because if racism can be taught, it can also be unlearned. That's what shook her community. Not just the exercise, but the truth she dragged into the light. Now let's slow it down and really feel what this meant. Because when Jane Elliott stood in front of that classroom, she wasn't just teaching kids about racism, she was holding up a mirror to America. And what stared back was ugly. Think about it. These were 9-year-old children. Just the day before, they were laughing, playing, treating each other like equals. But the moment Jane said, blue-eyed kids aren't as smart, they aren't as clean, they aren't as good, something flipped. Those children who were labeled less than sank into themselves. They performed worse on tests. They looked defeated. Meanwhile, the superior group grew cocky, mean, even cruel. All it took was a voice of authority to plant a lie, and that lie poisoned the entire room. Doesn't that sound familiar? Isn't that exactly how America was built? One group told, you are chosen, you are superior, the land is yours, the wealth is yours. The other group told, you are nothing, you are less, your labor is ours, your body is ours. And just like those kids, the lie reshaped generations.
well, I'm a third grade teacher in a country school in Riceville, Iowa. And I am here at the NAACP speaking because the day after Martin Luther King Jr. was killed by a society that hated him because he was going to change the economic situation in this country, I did an exercise in discrimination with my third grade classroom to let my little third graders, all white, all Christian children, find out how it feels to be something other than white in the United States of America. I split them according to the color of their eyes and treated those who had their own color eyes for the day the way we have traditionally treated blacks, Native Americans, Asians, all those Jews, all those who are different in appearance or in religion. And we learned more that day than I wanted to know. Behaviors. Let me tell you something. It wasn't a study and it wasn't an experiment. I don't
Exercise?
experiment with children without their knowledge or their permission. It was experiential education. It was giving a child an experience for the purpose of changing their brain. And that's exactly what it does every time I do it.
Now, you conducted the same study, I'm sorry, not study, exercise with adults.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And is it any different between the children and the adults?
Adults get more violent.
Imagine that. She said adults get more violent. Now, imagine being mistreated for centuries, right? And then be made a mockery of in media and always portrayed in a negative light, and then told that you're violent, you're belligerent, you're this and you're that, right? This is what they do, y'all. These are the games that they play. All right, let's keep going.
By white males, angry white males. I've had a knife pulled on me. They ran me out of Uniontown, Pennsylvania at midnight one night. 3 carloads of blacks did, to get me out of town because the teachers that I put through the exercise in a very limited way were so angry that they called the superintendent in the afternoon and said, if you don't get that bitch out of town, we're going to kill her. So they got me out of town. First time I've been scared. And the last time I've been scared. Because I found out that day that they could kill me, but they couldn't kill the idea. Victor Hugo said, no force on earth can stop an idea whose time has come. The idea of one race, the human race, is an idea whose time has come. We are not going to be able to stop it no matter what they do. They can elect Trump after Trump after Trump, and that will not stop the idea that there's only one race on the face of the earth. It's the human race, and we are all members of it. You and I are cousins. Now, if you don't like being my cousin, that's too bad for you. But we are all in the same family. We are members of the family of man.
You say that all whites are racist. Can you expound on that, please?
Any white person who was born, raised, and schooled in the United States of America, if you aren't a racist, you're a miracle. Either that or you decided to educate yourself. Because education in this country is about white is right, brown's all right, black's got to stand back. Yellow's mellow, but whites, we educate in a way that says that white males have done all the adventures, have made all the adventures, have done all the discovering, have made everything that is good and has been accomplished according to social studies, which is actually anti-social studies, by white males. It's a lie. But we do that in order to maintain the myth of white superiority. The myth of race has to be maintained at all costs in this country. Because if white people have to give up the color of their skin as being something that makes them perfect, what do they have left? If we start teaching the truth about history, if we start teaching about Nile Valley contributions to civilization, it will totally change the way we conduct ourselves in the classroom. It will have to. Columbus didn't discover America. You can't discover a place where people are already living. But we celebrate that every October. It's a lie. We need to get over, we need to stop telling the myths and start telling the truth.
So,
okay. All right. This lady is really going in. And like I said, a lot of people can't handle the truth. They don't want to hear the truth. They don't want you talking about the truth. It's always going to be an issue when you bring these conversations and these topics up. A lot of these people claim in the name of Christianity and religion that they are right and they're living correctly. Hold on, I'm sorry. I got to text someone. This is the nature of what they do. Like I said, they have an inferiority complex, you all. They might say that, oh, we're supreme. They might try to make you think that they're this and they're that. But anybody that has to try to hold down everyone else lets me know that they are very threatened. And like I said, every time I have come on this channel and I have spoken about these things, they have all come into the comment section being extremely defensive, you all. And defensiveness for what? If you haven't done anything, then why are you triggered? Because they're guilty. That's why. Thank you, Lonesome Dove. That is exactly why they do that. That's why all the antics and they try to deflect when we're talking about the truth over here. And when I start breaking stuff down, all they try to do is continue to debunk what I'm saying, but they really cannot do it. And then they always want to attack and say, oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about. She's low IQ. But here you have your own people telling you the same thing. You know, this is just the nature of them. It's just the nature of them. It's who they are. It's the fabric of where they come from. And this is all taught in the name of Christianity, you all. So that's why I said it can be a very dangerous thing, like Dr. Phil said, to follow along in something that you don't even know the origin of it. You're just blindly following something that was given to you by your oppressor, right? And that's exactly what is taking place. No, they're not. They're not greater than us. Exactly right. Now, she is so good. I want to keep her up here, but I'm going to switch over a little bit and play another video for you all. So just bear with me for a moment. This is from Black Renaissance. If you want to check that channel out, you can subscribe. I'm going to play this right here, right now.
Victim. And so many.
1 second, y'all. All right, so you see here where it says white lives matter, right? They always like to say white lives matter when you say BLM. And we know why they do that, right? Because it's a way of them being defensive, right? It's a way of them deflecting. We heard another Caucasian male talk about them when they say they do that. It's for a reason, y'all. It's out of guilt.
But I think it goes a lot deeper than that. White Americans basically have no culture, not in the same way we see other people. And we white people, we know this inherently, and it scares us.
Hello guys, welcome once again to the channel. I hope whenever you're watching.
All right, I am going to skip, okay, and let this guy keep talking.
Give me a chance. Let me explain. I want you to think of the kind of person who would put on a White Lives Matter sticker on the back of their Ford pickup. Why do they do that? Is it all racism? Well, yeah, but I think it goes a lot deeper than that. White Americans basically have no culture, not in the same way we see other people. And we white people, we know this inherently, and it scares us. We know we have our regional cultures, our cities, our sports teams and families all give us our regional culture, but being white basically means nothing, or generally at least nothing positive. White people throughout American history are almost always seen on the side of the oppressors. Not all white people, but most of us. And this sucks to learn. It's even harder to internalize. And it's why white people usually don't accept this, because it makes us feel a deep sense of guilt. I think it's why white people say nonsense like, I can't be racist, I have black friends. Sure, you probably don't see black people as objects, but you're refusing to accept the role our people have had in their oppression. That guilt we feel is our responsibility for the actions of our ancestors. It's why white people refuse to say that black people deserve reparation, because it admits our guilt. But black people deserve reparations. It just makes sense logically. You can sue someone for scratching your car, but black people can't sue the American government for the enslavement of their people. My people are arresting and deporting Mexican families from this country. Think about that. We are telling people that they are not allowed on the land we stole. Let's go a step further. White people stole a sacred land site from the people indigenous.
Notice he said they stole this land. And when I said that, how many of those hit dogs came hollering in the comment section, y'all? It's been going on for the entire week. They have been coming on here in droves by the masses, hollering and howling like the hit dogs they are.
To this land, and then carved 4 white people's faces on it, most of which were slave owners. I mean, Mount Rushmore is a place that we look at and we're like, oh, cool, giant faces. But to other people, it's a giant form of oppression. And admitting that and coming to terms with that sucks. We suck, dude. My people really and truly suck. Not all of us contributed to this oppression, but we are all a part of it. And this will mostly sound like virtue signaling. It will mostly sound like, look at how rough we are. But there is a reality to admitting this guilt and being honest with it, because white people are afraid to do this. And we're afraid to admit it because my people are weak. White people are weak. We have power. We have given ourselves and put down the cultures that are stronger than us because we know that we're weak. If white Americans were oppressed the same way Black, Native, or Mexican American people are, we would crack like glass. Our culture and identity as white people is so meaningless that we do everything in our power to keep other people down so that we don't break from having someone else on top. I think that's why you see white Americans championing white pride, not just out of ignorance or racism, but it's because they are scared. They're scared to come to terms with their guilt, scared to admit they're wrong, and terrified to acknowledge that we may have all the societal, economic, and political power, but as a people, we are weak. But this isn't the way it has to be forever. I have hope that one day my people will finally take responsibility for what we have done. I hope that we'll collectively accept our role in the oppression of our non-white brothers and sisters and finally take action. And it will take the action of us white folks. It's not just non-white people that have to fight for their rights. It's us too fighting for them, because our cross to bear is being born white. Being born with the skin color of the oppressors means that we have to fight to be nothing like them. We're not near that right now. America is in a tumultuous stage where it very much does not feel like white people are acknowledging where they went wrong. But I want to have hope, and I refuse to accept that one day justice won't prevail. Collectively, we can all shed the shadow of oppression and share this place together. And that's the message I want to end with. I want to be hopeful that one day oppression will be something taught in history class, something that we don't have to see ourselves in. That's what I hope. Anyway, I want to be optimistic in the end. Anyway, that's it. Thanks.
All right, let me stop right there for a second, y'all. I'm going to come on the screen and talk to y'all real quickly, because he said a whole lot, and I commend him actually for showing his face, coming on camera, speaking his truth, regardless of how he may get attacked. Because we know that anytime someone speaks up for a melanated person, they're probably going to get attacked. Melanated people definitely can't tell their truth because they are attacked, right? They are ridiculed. They are gaslit, like I said. It's always diminished. It's minimized. Not that serious. That happened so long ago. Why are you still bringing this up? You're a lot further than what you used to be. You have all these privileges now. What are you complaining for? Oh, you're playing the victim, right? We hear it all the time. Even when you're not even talking about being a victim, you're just speaking about something. They feel triggered to come and tell you about how you should feel. Who are they to tell you how you should feel unless they have walked, unless they have lived, unless they have experienced your life, and they have not experienced what it's to be like a melanated person? They have not been born into this. Y'all, we are born into this. And yes, I do believe that we are chosen. Okay? Because why would somebody try to hold you down so much if it wasn't something special about you? It's almost like envy and jealousy, y'all. It's like females, what they do to one another when they don't like someone. Or if you go to a job and you have a supervisor or a manager that's jealous of you, what are they always doing? Picking with you, taunting you, antagonizing you, harassing you, always messing with you, won't leave you alone, right? This is what they do. So it's envy, it's jealousy, and it's weakness. And it's very sad that they don't want to admit the truth, y'all. You said they were mutants, but they banded together. Instead, Caucasus Mountains, and then something happened. Y'all, some of my enemies are on my case and looking for me. I'll be on high alert if I get popped. All right, we're not going to speak that into existence. We're going to play this video here and hear what this guy has to say on this video, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and play this for y'all just a moment. Okay? Because when it comes from their very own, they don't like to hear the truth, but they're going to hear this truth, y'all.
Systemic racism.
I don't feel any white guilt. I don't feel any guilt, hereditary guilt. I feel guilt for things I've done in my own life that have been wrong. I feel guilt sometimes for my actions.
I don't even want to hear him talk, okay? Because he reminds me of Simon Cowell, and I think Simon Cowell's voice is very annoying. Let's keep going, y'all. You said people are crazy. They're very crazy, Fox.
Or Brahmins for that matter, feel guilty. You know, you see a lot of stuff on the internet. White people do better.
And well, whether they feel guilty or not is very apparent in how they try to defend themselves whenever someone brings up how they're treated. And, you know, I know that they made us feel like we should have felt some type of way for Charlie Kirk. Why the hell would we feel some type of way for Charlie the freaking Kirk? What did he ever do for us? Not a goddamn thing, y'all. So what are we going to sit here and mourn somebody that we don't even know for? But you're going to tell us, oh, why should we feel guilt? Why should we feel empathy and sympathy for somebody that did not have anything good to say about us? We didn't even know this dude, y'all. And speaking of Charlie Kirk, I'm actually going to show you the new replacement of Charlie Kirk because they done found another one, y'all. And wait till y'all see it. But I'm going to let this guy right here continue to speak.
A lot of conversations with white people over racism in America. And something they have all said when they disagree with my points is they act like racism is a thing of the past or that they're isolated incidents, not racism as a whole. And from their perspective, I understand why. How could a racist country have a black president? How could a racist country have rich black people? If a black person can rise to any level in American society.
Let me let y'all know something. If he's talking about a black president, which they claim is Obama, do you know that these presidents, right? All of them are blood related. So even Obama, because he's biracial, right? He said his mother was from Kansas. Somewhere in that bloodline, he is still related to the rest of the presidents. That's the only way that you're really going to be able to do that, y'all. They don't tell you the truth. They don't tell you the truth. That's really the only way. And then there was speculation, y'all, that Malcolm X could have been or could have fathered Barack Obama, aka Barry Soetoro, y'all. I want y'all to look at the resemblance. I want y'all to look at the complexion. I want y'all to look at the mannerisms, the height, the body structure of Barack Obama and Malcolm X. Okay? But let me continue on because I'm digressing right now.
Then how are we racist? You all aren't willing to let it go and want to be the victim. And so many of them said this that I started to realize that this was a taught response for white people. And I think I've probably said the same thing before. So I started to look into this and I learned something. The systems of racism in this country are designed to be hidden from white people and to keep white people colorblind. And it works exceptionally well. In the 50s and 60s, you would have to be literally blind and deaf to not see racist systems in this country. But today, you could go your whole life as a white person thinking American racism is a thing of the past, and that's exactly what the people in power want you to think. And it's in part the fault of white people who choose to remain ignorant when presented with the facts, but they're also victims of a system that rewards
Y'all shout out Solar God in the chat, please. Shout out to Solar God in the chat. Let's continue.
Complacency. Why would we change? It doesn't benefit us in any way to acknowledge systemic racism. Remaining ignorant is the white survival strategy. But what's crazy is just how powerful this system is, and it still manages to be hidden from white people. You can find systemic racism in education, healthcare, housing, employment, immigration, hell, even environmental racism. It is everywhere, yet white people still have to go out looking for it to see it. There's a lot more to say about this, but I'm going to end it here. If you're a white person watching this video, I heavily encourage you to learn more about systemic racism because it will teach you a lot about yourself, and you'll join the ranks of white people that want to change. You know, Martin Luther King Jr. said that white and black folks are tied together in a single garment of destiny. What affects one directly affects all indirectly. And by deciding to change, it's our first step towards generational change. And one day, the system will fall apart because there's no one left willing to uphold it. And that'll be all, guys. Peace.
Want to be a public? All right, I'm going to stop that right there. I'm going to come on camera and I'm going to talk to y'all for a moment. Like I told y'all, church is in session. Can I get an amen? Let the church say amen. You said not in 2025, especially white cops. Y'all, these people can't handle the truth. They don't want to know the truth, right? They want a beautiful lie. Hence, we have that bill supposedly implemented by Donald Trump talking about the big, beautiful bill. I haven't read it yet, but I was going to do some research into that as well. And as a matter of fact, as we sit here and speak tonight, I just got to give a shout out to all my melanated people that have joined us in the building. Okay. Don't let the oppressor ever tell you who you are, right? Always know that you're a divine being, walking in the image of your divine, made in the image of your divine creator. Honor your ancestors, venerate the people that actually were here with you, that knew you, right? You don't have to follow their white Jesus, y'all. You don't have to follow their white sky daddy on a cloud, y'all. You don't have to follow their white Christian religion, all in the name of racism, because Christianity, as we've just discovered, right, as we've been listening here, is stemmed in racism. Because Charlie Kirk was a devout Christian, allegedly, right? And what did Charlie Kirk say about melanated people? He said that melanated women didn't have brain processing power. He said that if he were to be operated on by a melanated lesbian, he would be like, whoa, what's going on here? He said that if he were to get on an airplane and saw that there was a melanated pilot, the first thing that's going to go through his mind is that pilot qualified? Is that how everyone thinks? You know, so where is this coming from? Because obviously he's been growing up listening to this. And from my understanding, Charlie Kirk's father was an architect for Donald Trump, one of the Trump Towers, y'all. So this is very interesting information, right? The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, is what I'm saying. All right, there were some more videos that I wanted to share with y'all, and I'm trying to look through here now. Definitely check out Jane Elliott. Again, that is Jane Elliott, y'all. You never liked Trump? It's all good. A lot of people don't like him. A lot of people don't like him. King Simon and Ashra Kwesi, y'all. It's just a shame that, you know, people like to gaslight and pretend like these things don't take place and that this stuff does not happen, right? They want to pretend like they don't know what's going on, but we all understand and we know what's going on. They play that game so well. Oh, what are you talking about? What do you mean? This is why when you're on your jobs, melanated ladies, and you're being harassed and targeted and tormented by your manager, and you try to prove what's going on, they try to gaslight you and make you feel like it never happened. It's not happening, and then your job is in jeopardy for speaking the truth. This happens, and it's a regular pattern, right? There have been so many people on their jobs that have been harassed and targeted by their white counterparts because they don't like this melanated lady because A, she's educated, she's articulate, she's professional, she dresses well, she looks nice, right? They don't like that. They like to see cracks all in your crevices so they can point and pick at you. And any little thing that's going on with, you know, your work, they like to nitpick. I'm telling you, this is how white people work. I've been through it. I know what I'm talking about. You will have someone with less education, hardly any education, haven't even been to college. They will put them on the job and start them off making more than the melanated females with the degrees, because this has happened in my field of work. One of my melanated counterparts had a master's degree. They brought the Caucasian girl on. She didn't even have a degree, I don't think. And in my opinion, from what I knew in that department, you had to have a degree to get hired. But ironically, they started her off making more than most of the people in the department. So they do this to everybody, y'all. All melanated females at some point in time are going to go through it. Just ask, pick, ask. They're all out here. Pick a melanated female and ask them, have they been through this type of stuff on their job? Oh, yes, they have. They have. They've been harassed. They've been targeted. They've been called to HR, sign these papers, do this, do that. Like, it never stops. And then when you say, okay, I'm tired of this, I don't want to go through this anymore, I'm going to do something different, then they want to say melanated females or melanated people are lazy because you don't want to work, because you're tired of the harassment, because you're tired of having anxiety going into your job because of all of what they do. They create a hostile work environment, right? And then they want to say you're lazy, you don't want to work. When you say, now I'm going to build something of my own, I'm going to start my own business. Oh, well, why can't you just get a job and da 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 da? You already tried doing that. You spent years upon years preparing yourself to be successful. You went to school, you got the certificates, you got the training, you did this, you did that. You're jumping over hoops and barrels and hurdles. What more do you want from me, Tyrese? Right? So it's ridiculousness at this point, y'all. I would like to hear what y'all have to say in the comment section about this stuff, because it needs to be talked about. These are the conversations they don't want to hear, don't want to be had. They want you to put up and shut up, right? They want you to be a good, well-behaved slave for them. And if you say anything, then guess what that means? Oh, you're seen as a target, you're a threat, you're a problem. Now we have issues with you. That's how they look at you. Like you're an object. You're just here to do whatever they tell you to do, and they don't care how they mistreat you. And if you say something about it, it's a problem. You're going to be targeted. This is how they are, because they come with a sense of superiority, right? They come with a sense of entitlement. They think that you're not supposed to have any type of feelings about being spoken down to or treated in a certain type of way. You're not supposed to have feelings about any of this stuff. You should be lucky that you're here. That's really the way they think, right? They have a very entitled, twisted mental illness. Mentally, they're ill. And I would caution you all, melanated people, to be very careful with these creature features out here. Be very careful dealing with these creatures out here called Caucasians, the Caucasoids. Not all of them are this way, but there are a great majority of them this way. And a lot of them secretly feel a certain way, but they hide it very well. And those are very dangerous ones as well. You can't trust anybody. All right. I would say trust no one, because you can't even trust your own people. Remember, all skin folk are not kinfolk, because you still have these people that want to report back to the plantation, to slave master, if you do anything that they feel is incorrect on the job, because now they think they're going to get an advancement, right? But we do know that you'll never go further than what the slave master has said that you can go, as long as you're under the slave master's threshold. That's why I said, to be liberated, you have to break free mentally first. You have to get from up under their oppressive religion called Christianity, all this indoctrination in their education system. People don't like to hear the truth, but this is the reality of what we're dealing with, y'all. So many educated people with degrees can't even find jobs right now, even with meeting the job requirements. They don't want them to have the jobs, Solar Guide. If they wanted them to have the jobs, they would have hired the people. But the system is playing a game. I feel like this is all pre-orchestrated. They already said in an article that I read 2 or 3 years ago that by 2026, they are predicting a certain number of melanated people to be homeless. So isn't it very ironic that you had 350,000 melanated females laid off recently? That is not a coincidence. That is by design. All right. They know what they're doing. Don't let them make you feel like you're complaining. You're getting on their nerves. Here we go again. You're talking too much. Now you know, enough of that with the games and the antics, y'all. This is why melanated females have left the workforce. This is why a lot of melanated females said, I am tired of being mistreated. Let me go start something of my own. And when they do that, people don't like to hear that you are developing something of your own, because now you're not up under their oppressive thumb. They don't like it when they can't have control over you. They don't like it when you don't need them for anything. See, and that's the one thing they're scared of. They're scared of losing power, right? Because they're very weak creatures, y'all. Anytime you have to oppress another group of people, you're very weak. You said they definitely put their plan in motion. Every melanated person should have a secondary plan in motion if you have a job, especially if you're a W-2 employee. You definitely should have other means and streams of resources. Never rely on a job, y'all. I'm telling you, for your own good, never rely on a job, especially if you only have one source of income and that one job. Never depend on that job, because at any moment, at any given time, they can snatch it from right under you. So if you're not the owner of that company, if you're not the CEO, or someone of position and power and authority, I would caution you, even if you do have a position of authority, if it's not your company, to be very careful, because I've heard so many stories of people that I know personally that are no longer working with these companies, and they have dedicated years of themselves to these jobs, right? And you'll have people that say, well, why are you complaining? At least you got a right to work over here. Oh, y'all are never satisfied. Stop listening to them people, especially when them people have not had to go through what you've gone through, experience the life that you have to experience, when they have been propped up and placed into a place of entitlement and position. Y'all, they don't like for us to tell the truth. Now, I'm going to see if I can find this Charlie Kirk wannabe, and I'm going to play this for y'all if I see it, because I think I tried to save the video, y'all. I got so many videos that I wanted to share. So just a moment. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. I don't see it, y'all. Let me click on this and see. Okay, that's not it. It's hard to know every video that I was actually trying to save these videos while I was out and about, y'all. So, and I tried to label them as well, but I don't see the one that I was looking for. Might have to play it some other time, or I might have to research it another way. Hold on one second, y'all. These people are relentless. Hold on. That's not what I'm looking for either. I don't think I can find the video. Maybe I have to, let me look at my search history and see if I can find it, y'all. And it's difficult. Let me see. Go here, go here. All right, history. All right, let's see. What videos did I watch today? Let's keep going back. Let's keep going back. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Keep going back. Yeah, I don't see it. So I might not be able to play it if I can't find the video. But yeah, they've already started trying to have another Charlie Kirk replacement, y'all. I just can't find it right now. He's 18. I think he's an 18-year-old. And he said that Charlie Kirk was his mentor. But I don't see it on here. He said, yeah, they're very relentless. They are very, here it is. Okay, I found it. Okay, share, copy. Okay, let me play this. They're very relentless because they're evil. Evil is usually very relentless anyway, because they don't want that negative energy to die. They want it to live on. That's just how they operate. They've always been that way. Very dangerous creatures they are. Okay. All right, let me share this with y'all so y'all can see what's going on here. All right, this is from Sabby Sab's channel. If you want to check her out, she has some interesting information. Sabby Sabs, again, that's Sabby Sab's channel. She has 255,000 subscribers, and I'm going to play this video for y'all.
That you share with us really quickly, Brillin, about fourth grade, a podcast. That's incredible. And Charlie Kirk appears on your podcast. Tell me about the role he played for you as a mentor.
Yeah, again, it's somebody that didn't have to do that. He was on Fox News every other hour that year. He didn't have to make time for me as an 11-year-old with this upcoming podcast in the fourth grade to come on and join me, but he did. And not only was it a one-time thing, I've interviewed hundreds of people that I've never talked to again. He stayed a mentor, and he texted me up until this week when I was on another Fox show congratulating me. Like, he didn't have to do that. He could have given me his competition. He could have said, oh, I'm not going to give this kid time, but he did. And what I think the larger thing here is the left loves to preach tolerance. They love to preach tolerance.
All right, so you see the divisiveness starts again, right? That's what I'm saying. These people are very savage and evil. He starts talking about the left. He starts talking about the left. That's not even a normal talking point for people that are new to politics. So apparently he's been groomed to speak this way, right?
And in situations like this, that's the last thing we're seeing. The media coverage on the other side of the aisle is not like this. I was just scrolling through channels, and obviously the person that took this live, this is heartbreaking, Will. And I really hope, if anything, that people get off the sidelines. This weekend, I'm going to a youth rally in South Carolina, and you better believe that I've already had my team shoot me text saying, Brown, you really need to caution this. You really need to think about not standing in the middle of a park and speak to the next generation. But I am more energized than ever to carry on this torch, to carry on this legacy, because that's what Charlie would have wanted. He would have wanted us to continue to fight the good fight, just like he did.
No doubt, Brian. No doubt. Thank you.
Well, yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. So with that being said, y'all, what are your thoughts on this new Charlie Kirk replacement, y'all? From what you just heard, did that sound like you would be interested in going to the rally to hear him speak? I'm not impressed whatsoever at all. I just think it's a bunch of gibberish, a bunch of jargon. He's very young. What does he know about life? What does he know about politics? Very young like this. He doesn't know very much, y'all. So they are grooming these people, and it's a very dangerous thing because they're getting to these children when they're fresh out of high school or in college, right? Because when you're in college, you really don't have much political experience. You're just getting to vote, right? You're just learning about some of the news and what's going on out here. But more than likely, you're not even thinking about all of that stuff, the left and the right wing. So he's been groomed, y'all. One of those people who tried coming after me. My brothers are dealing with it, so it's all good. Man, y'all, it's insanity. All right, let's hear what they're saying about this Charlie Kirk wannabe, y'all, because this is a hot mess. This is some BS, if I must say so myself.
Well, that happened fast,
right? Let's keep going. Okay, hold on, y'all.
DNC for so long, and we're actually.
Hold on.
That is the sound of my generation taking.
Okay, here we go.
That noise, that's the sound of a revival among Gen Z. Okay, here he is here on Newsmax.
You hear that noise sweeping across the country? That is the sound of my generation taking off the shackles of the left that we've been a monopoly of the DNC for so long. And we're actually seeing a revival sweep across this nation, not just political, not just cultural, but spiritual. Bianca, you know, politics is temporary. Faith is eternal. And the images you're showing on your screen are my generation repenting and turning to the Lord out of this tragedy.
Oh, stop it, y'all. Did he just say that they are repenting and turning to the Lord? Did he just say that they are repenting and turning to the Lord? This is what I'm talking about with the nonsense of it all. These people always want to bring religion into politics and use that as if they're right. Use that as if they're some type of angelic creatures, which we all know they're evil and satanic and demonic, right? Because of the practices in which they exercise. But let's continue to listen to this gibberish and garbage.
Hear that noise?
Yeah, you know, obviously I was not a fan of Charlie Kirk, but I will.
Oh boy, let's keep going. Let's keep going, y'all. Okay, so here he is again on a plane, a private jet, y'all.
There, here I am sitting on a private jet, going out there to talk to the young folks. Look at me.
What's up, America? Brian Hollyhand here, about 30,000 feet up. We are on the way to Arkansas. So everybody in line at the University of Arkansas to kick off my 10-stop campus tour. We are coming to you right here, right now. Stay in line. We have gotten a third room because we have sold out this campus stop 3 times. But we are coming to you. We will fit you in. Students will get priority, but we will make it happen. I cannot be more excited. We are back. We are on the road. We're coming to you one conversation at a time. If you're not at the University of Arkansas, we're coming to a campus near you soon. So check out my tour dates. We'll see you super soon.
He doesn't sound excited to me.
Does that make anybody want to go anywhere and see anything whatsoever? I don't think so. I don't even think so. Y'all, these people are paid. They're paying these young people to do this, and they're being funded by the Millionaires Club. The billionaires are funding this, right? So this is how they're able to travel around and do these rallies. They're getting funding to do it, just like Charlie Kirk. They say that Charlie Kirk founded Turning Point USA when he was 18. How do you think he did that, y'all? He was funded. Like I said, he had connections. His father was connected to Donald Trump. Okay, and not just that, they were saying that from sources that I've heard said that this older guy, I forgot his name, but discovered Charlie Kirk when he was probably in high school, because allegedly Charlie Kirk, according to his classmates, he was spewing rhetoric back when he was in high school about politics, right? So because he was speaking so passionately about it, they wanted a younger crowd. They wanted a younger following. So they took Charlie Kirk to go talk to the colleges, y'all. So this has been taking place with Charlie ever since the age of 18, all the way up until the age of 31. And I didn't even know who he was. I think a lot of us didn't even know who this person was until they plastered him all over social media, the same way they plastered Nipsey Hussle all over the place, right? With his alleged untimely demise. Let's keep listening, y'all.
By MAGA crowd after private jet video. Country club conservative. Yeah, it really does kind of debunk the whole working class American hero, right? Like it kind of, I don't know. Let's make this a little bit larger so you guys can see it here. Brillen Hollyhand That name, Brillen Hollyhand, who calls himself the internet's youngest voice of reason, wrangled many conservatives online, including those associated with Turning Point USA, the political advocacy organization funded by Kirk. It comes after the 19-year-old posted a video of himself traveling to Arkansas to begin his One Conversation at a Time tour, which he has vowed will be a continuation of Kirk's legacy after he was fatally shot in Utah earlier this month. In this video, Hollyhand is seen sitting in what appears to be a private jet while wearing a striped golf top and an expensive looking watch. You know what he looks like?
I see what he looks like. We all can see what he looks like. You don't have to ask us. We clearly see. So I wouldn't be convinced. Nick Scott, a fellow Republican influencer who briefly co-hosted the Charlie Kirk Show, warned against grifters using Turning Point USA's name to push campus tours. Turning Point USA is absolutely not sponsoring campus tours for young men flying around on private planes, despite claims otherwise, he wrote on X. This is such an unnecessary distraction from the actual campus tour, which honors Charlie, y'all. So like I said, they have a copycat and a wannabe. Yes, Fox, they will use anything. Anything. Oh my gosh. It says here, hold on, let me go back a little bit. Ignore the grifters, he added. Sort of added that while Hollyhand may be a good kid, he was surrounded by others trying to hijack the movement for their own gain. It's sickening. I'll do everything in my power to expose it, he said. Turning Point USA's chief operating officer, Tyler Boyer, also accused him of falsely suggesting events were sponsored by the group, according to Mediate. Okay, let's keep going. Was this him back in the day? So this looks like Candace Owens and the boy that we just saw in the video when he was 11 years old back in the day. And I'm pretty sure his family has ties to someone as well. All these people that you see getting pushed like this, they have ties behind the scenes. All right. This is just not coincidental. They're very strategic. I'll never be Charlie, and I don't want to be Charlie. I can't. He was one of one. I'm Brylan, and I seem eager. It's because I am. I watched the guy I looked up to get shot. He said, I'm determined to make sure he didn't die in vain and inspire my peers to carry out his legacy. Oh boy, here he is trying to speak, y'all. Let's listen to this.
Excited to officially kick off our One Conversation at a Time tour on your beautiful campus. When we planned this all out, I wanted this to be the first stop. I wanted to be here. I wanted to be with you, and this worked out perfectly. And it looks like we've got a full room, so I think we chose pretty wisely. So it's genuinely an honor. And I want to say thank you to each and every one of you before we get started, because I'm a freshman at Auburn. I understand the strains in your time commitments. I understand all of the insane things that you could be doing tonight. You've got homework. There's probably some parties going on campus. You got to get ready for the weekend and whoever y'all play on Saturday. But genuinely, you took the time to be here. So thank you, thank you, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, if you don't hear anything else tonight, thank you for being here. Thank you for kicking off this tour with me. It is an honor to share this experience with you.
Yes. I hear no passion. I'm not moved. I feel nothing, right? That's exactly what this sounds like. Very bland, very monotone. And you know that when you're speaking to people, you cannot be monotone, right? That's very boring. Yeah. And sometimes if I sound monotone, it's probably because I'm quiet, but my voice does have inflection in it. I just don't even see how anybody could sit there and listen to him. I'm sorry, but it wouldn't be me. It would not be me, y'all. I couldn't do it. Can't do it, Charlie. Can't go over there talking to these people like that, and you don't even have any inflection in your voice. Who do you think you are? Trying to be like Charlie. Yeah, I just don't even know how they do it, y'all. Anyway, I've been on here for an hour, going on 40 minutes, an hour and 40 minutes total. Thank y'all, everybody, for rocking out with me. The people that joined the building, that came into the chat section, the moderators, I appreciate you all. This has been an episode of Brown Girls Are Beautiful. We will be exploring more and delving deeper into the facts, the truth, and revelations of history, y'all. Whether that's religion, whether that's what we have to talk about as a melanated people as a whole, whether these hit dogs have to holler, and I might have to do a vertical live stream, y'all. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and sign out. Y'all got to get ready and prepare for tomorrow. I hope you all stay blessed. Remember to walk in your divinity and celebrate yourself. Till next time. See y'all later. Signing out.